Hey everyone, so I am at home in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I'm making this video because I want to talk about this trip that I just took to DC and how much of a, I guess you could call it a bit of a disaster it was. So I went to DC for Mid-Atlantic Leather Week, and if you don't know what that is, Mid-Atlantic Leather Week is a sort of kink leather fetish convention, so to speak. A lot happens at this event, and I've been before. It was a lot of fun. Alfred was totally cool with me going, and there was no problems at all on that end of things. But I went, and right before I left, I had a bit of a cold. And while I was there, Sudafed and some other medicines were keeping me going, but I still kind of felt a little off. And as you can tell, I still have a bit of a cold right now. So that was one thing that kind of made the trip not so fun. And then the other thing that made it not so fun was that basically Donald Trump has shut down our government. And as a result, pretty much nothing that's interesting is open in Washington, D.C. right now. So none of the Smithsonian museums, none of the national monuments or landmarks, nothing like that is open right now. And I've been to all the Pay museums already, so there was no point in that. So I go the first day, and it was a lot of fun. I arrived and I napped because I felt terrible. I met my friend out, and then we went to MAL. We had a great time that night. The next morning, I wake up and I feel pretty horrible. And so I lay in bed for like 3 hours, and then I text Alfred and I just say, hey, I think I want to come home. And he's like, are you sure? If you're coming home because you think I need you here, you shouldn't come home. He doesn't want us to have this codependency thing, and neither do I. But, and I was like, no, I need to come home because it's really boring for all the reasons I just told you. The event actually didn't seem that great this year, really, compared to other years. So, and the weather, it was freezing cold. You really couldn't walk around outside. There were protests happening left and right. All the government-run buildings were closed, and I was feeling sick. So I decided I wanted to come home. So we looked on Delta Airlines, and we used points to get me home. It cost me like 4,000 extra points to get home, which is no big deal. But it's a connecting flight since the weekend, so I had to fly from DC to Detroit, and then Detroit to RDU, to Raleigh. And everything. It took me all day to get home, but I did finally get home on Saturday. I left my trip early, and that's the point of all of this right now, is there have been times when I'm traveling where I'm just like, I do not feel this. I'm not feeling this at all. I think I don't want to be here anymore, and I would love to go home. Now, it's very difficult to do that if you're like 10,000 miles away, because like you can't just hop on a plane and go home. That would cost you a fortune, and you already just wasted a fortune, so you kind of need to suck it up. And most of the time, those feelings of homesickness are just that. They're just feelings of homesickness, and they'll go away. But if you're ever on a trip and you're not feeling that trip, it's just not appealing to you, it's not living up to what you thought it was, and you're able to, you should just go home. There is nothing wrong with wanting to go home. I know a lot of digital nomads who basically travel the world nonstop. They don't have bases. They don't have a home to go to because they decided not to do that. And that's so awesome. Excuse me. That's so awesome. But some of us, and I would say some of us more normal travelers, we like going home. We like that we have a home to go to. I have pets who I've currently barricaded out of this region who are angry at me right now. And I have a house, and I have a husband, and I have friends here, and I have things going on at home. That's all great to want to get home to that. And if you're sick, nothing's worse than being in a hotel room, sick with nobody there to help take care of you or anything. So it's okay to want to go home. It's okay to resist those feelings and consider it homesickness, but it's also okay to say, all right, you know what, I've tried. Right now, everything is adding up to telling me I need to go home. So I just wanted to make this quick video to tell you that it is okay to want to go home when you're traveling. Sometimes trips can be disappointing. Personally, this trip to Washington, D.C. was really disappointing for me. I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't want to leave to begin with because I didn't feel well. When I got there, it didn't add up to my expectations. And then there was a lot of extenuating circumstances that made it even worse. So I decided to come home. That's okay. And you know, I put a lot of content out there that makes it seem as though, oh my gosh, I'm so good at traveling and whatever. But in reality, like sometimes I'm just a bad traveler. Sometimes I go places and I might not even leave my hotel for a day or two, especially if I've been traveling for a while. And that's okay. You can travel however you'd like to travel, and there's no right or wrong way to do that. And I know that you can feel guilty about that, but really, there's no reason for anyone to feel guilty about anything. But basically the message of this video is it is okay to go home. Now stay tuned because I've got a lot of new stuff coming up. I have some travel videos that are going to tell you about cool places coming up. I have Go Journey USA where I'll be presenting a bunch of off the beaten path places for you to learn about and hopefully travel to and visit, because these places need our help and that would be awesome. And then I'm gonna have some cooking demos coming up as well, so stay tuned. And who knows, I might even have a few one-on-one chats that are video recorded for you all about life and my relationship with Alfred, etc. But anyway, home is great and there's no shame in wanting to go home. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you next time.